Hey, what's up, everybody? Chris here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Microsoft and Activision and Sony and all of that kind of stuff. I don't typically have a ton of sort of hot take videos on my channel. I usually sort of let that stuff play out and then comment on it once it's finalized. But I'm honestly getting a little bit tired of this whole thing, getting tired of seeing it. And I will say, I'll preface this whole thing by saying that I am not really a fanboy of any system. I appreciate Sony and all the games that they're able to offer. I appreciate Microsoft and all the games they're able to offer, even though, of course, their exclusives are a little bit limited. And we'll talk about how that plays into this. And, of course, Nintendo, which is sort of the long-standing player in the video game world. But let's jump into this a little bit and kind of talk about what's going on. So there was an article that came out in Kotaku, and I'm sort of getting this pulled up here on my computer. It came out yesterday at 4:44 p.m., and then it was updated later in the kind of early evening. But the title of it is this: Microsoft to offer Sony 10 years of Call of Duty, because that seems to be the game that all of this is sort of hinging on to close the Activision deal. And so who knows what's going to happen with that from a Sony perspective. But what's become old with this, in my view, is that Sony really is being, I think, pretty whiny here. Now, again, I appreciate everything Sony does. They're a great video game company. I think there's some irony, though, in that, they are really getting upset about Microsoft potentially making something exclusive. Now, you could play the he said, she said game. Phil Spencer said this, did one thing, whatever. But they're getting upset about this, but their market, their gaming share, their brand, the PlayStation, has thrived on great exclusive games. So now Microsoft, I think, is kind of acknowledging that, right? They're sort of recognizing that, yeah, our fans are getting a little bit annoyed with the fact that we're taking a long time to get our exclusive games up and running. But we're Microsoft. We've got a lot of money. We can go out there and bring in some of these big studios and these big titles to have some exclusivity and to, sort of appease our fans. But I think it's more than that for Microsoft. I really do think at the heart of all this is trying to make Game Pass the best value for money proposition in gaming, the best that it can possibly be. And by bringing in Activision, I mean, you think about this, right? You've got Call of Duty, all the other titles that might be under the Activision umbrella. You've got Bethesda now. I mean, really getting Game Pass, if you have Xbox, is a no-brainer. And what's so brilliant about this is you don't even need an Xbox. I just made a video that talked about xCloud and Xbox Cloud Gaming. You don't even need an Xbox. If you've got any kind of device that can stream and you can hook up a Bluetooth controller to, you can play. You can play on a Chromebook, a MacBook, an iPad, whatever. You can play these games. So I really do believe Phil when he says that he's trying to let gamers play wherever they want to play. But he, as a CEO of Xbox, has another job, right? Which is to grow that brand, is to make them a profitable brand. And by doing this, by bringing in Activision, he's doing sort of double duty. He's making Game Pass better, but he's also getting some exclusivity that makes Xbox that much more appealing. Call of Duty is a big thing. People play the Modern Warfare games, the Black Ops games. I still love those games, even though they do get kind of repetitive. I still love the multiplayer in them, so I dig into them all the time. And so Sony is upset that PlayStation gamers won't have access to this. But again, to me, it's a little bit hypocritical in that, Xbox fans don't have access to Horizon or The Last of Us or whatever franchise you want to throw out there. And that's okay. That's part of, sort of the competitive world we live in with gaming. If you want to play those games, you get a PlayStation. But what's so great about what Xbox is sort of envisioning, in my opinion, is that you don't even need to buy the console. If you want to play Call of Duty, if down the road, 10 years down the road, based on this new information we have, it becomes exclusive to Xbox, you just need to have an Xbox controller or a mouse and keyboard, and you can stream it and play it. And I'm sure by that time, the infrastructure and the architecture of cloud gaming is going to be much improved from where it is currently. But I think Xbox has got a much bolder, a much bigger vision, and they're trying to do double duty here. Again, trying to increase the value of Game Pass, the proposition value that you get with that, but also trying to make Xbox fans happy with the investment they've made in that ecosystem. I think, too, that Sony is just a little bit mad that Microsoft might be starting to beat them at their own game, or at least trending in that direction. I mean, again, Microsoft is a company that has billions upon billions of dollars and can afford to do this thing. And I think in some sense, they've kind of gotten to the point where they've thought to themselves, fine, let's play the exclusives game. Let's try to do what we can to make Game Pass that much better. We're just going to throw our weight around and we're going to bring in some studios, and that's awesome. Again, as an Xbox fan, I'm excited about this, but I, play every game system out there. If it came to pass that Call of Duty was exclusive on PlayStation, I would understand that, okay, well, they've struck a deal with Activision. That means that if I want to play Call of Duty, I got to get a PlayStation, and that's just the way it is. So honestly, really, I'm just kind of tired of Sony whining about this. They've really dominated the market and continue to dominate the gaming market for a long time. And so Xbox is making some positive moves. They are growing as a company, they're growing as a brand, they're reaching a lot of new gamers with these new things that they're trying. And Sony is upset about this because maybe they're starting to see that they should have invested more in this idea of something like gaming as a subscription service. Again, PlayStation has great games. I'm going to keep playing those games, but this is getting a little bit old, and it feels like Sony is flailing for the sake of flailing, trying to stop this inevitable train from leaving the station. I mean, who knows? This whole deal could end up getting derailed potentially, but it seems like both Activision and Xbox are fully behind seeing it through to the end. So we'll see what happens with it. I love it for Xbox. Again, I'm not a big fan of fanboyism, but I like what Xbox is doing. It feels like they're finally taking some big steps in the right direction. So hopefully that continues to come to pass and it plays out as Phil Spencer and company are hoping that it does. But anyway, let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Do you like what Xbox is doing? Do you hate what Xbox is doing? Do you feel like you're more in line with Sony's position on this issue? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, thanks for watching.